You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
You're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow on WBZH. I'm Mark Lundeen, and here's what's happening in Hayward today. Spooner Golf Girls Varsity Invitational will be at the Spooner Golf Course at 9 a.m. Again, Girls Varsity Invitational Golf happening at the Spooner Golf Course. At 10 o'clock, the Northwoods Community Food Shelf will be open. This is located at 11255 Highway 77 in Hayward at the Spider Lake Youth Center. Food is available there, mostly meat and produce, and everyone's encouraged to get food from this program, regardless of your financial situation. Check it out. Go to spiderlakechurch.org. Again, more information about the Northwoods Community Food Shelf at 10 o'clock on Wednesday. The Strong Bodies program is being offered at the LCO Elder Center, located at 13856 West Corbine Road in Stone Lake. The Strong Bodies program has been shown to increase strength, muscle mass, and bone density. Classes are held twice weekly and include progressive resistance training, balance training, and flexibility exercises. Again, at 10:30, the Strong Bodies program is at the Lacoudere Aging and Disabilities Center. Super Senior Classes is happening at the Hayward Resource Center, located at 15856 East 5th Street in Hayward. The cost is $2 for this 45-minute class geared towards those who are 60 and older, and it is chair-based. They'll work on balance, strength, coordination, core, and having fun. Again, the Hayward Resource Center Super Seniors class starting at 11 a.m. And then Power Pump, a dumbbell class designed for all fitness levels, will be held at the Cable Community Center starting at 4 o'clock today. Targets all major muscle groups by using exercise such as squats, presses, lifts, and curls. They emphasize low weight loads and high repetition and motivational music. Again, Power Pump classes happening at the Cable Community Center at 4 o'clock. On Thursday at 10 a.m., the Engage Knitting is at the Hayward Library. Whether you're a beginner or experienced knitter or prefer a different craft and would just like some camaraderie, you can head on over to the Hayward Community Library located at 10788 Highway 27. And again, that's at 10 o'clock on Thursday. Spooner Schools, the girls' varsity match will be at Grantsburg Public Golf at 4 o'clock on Thursday. Again, Spooner girls' varsity match is at Grantsburg starting at 4 o'clock for their golf tournament. Cross Country Girls Varsity Invitational will start at 4:30 at the Spooner High School. Again, Cross Country Girls Varsity Invitational happening at 4:30 at the Spooner High School. Creative Movement, a class with exercises using low-impact exercises at the Cable Community Center starting at 4:30 on Thursday. Hayward Boys Soccer is happening in Cumberland at 5 o'clock on Thursday. Again, Boys Soccer Varsity versus Cumberland in his away game at the Cumberland High School starting at 5 o'clock. Girls volleyball happening at multiple schools at 5:45. This will be at the Spooner High School. They have triangular opponents, including Siren and Spooner. Again, girls varsity volleyball will be happening at the Spooner High School at 5:45 on Thursday. The Namakagon River Cleanup will start on Friday at 8:30. Join Riverway volunteers for the 2025 Namakagon River Cleanup. It's a popular place for paddling, fishing, or just simply taking in the beauty of the Riverway. Bring your family and friends to help care for this special place while enjoying the fall outdoor days. More details are at the wildriverconservancy.org, and then just go into their event page and then NAM Cleanup. Again, Namakagon River Cleanup all day Friday starting at 8:30 at the Namakagon River Hayward Landing, and help join people with cleaning up the Namakagon River. The Northwest Connection Family Resources is having open play starting at 9 o'clock at their facility at 15896 West 3rd Street. Again, come join your friends and make other new ones while you're playing with your kids in the children's environment. A snack will be provided. Again, Northwest Connection Family Resources, located at 15896 West 3rd Street at 9 o'clock for open play. 10 o'clock on Friday, the Northwoods Community Food Shelf will be open once again. You can pick up lots of meats and produce, and you're encouraged to come get food the program regardless of your financial situation. The food shelf is located at 11255 Highway 77 in Hayward. Spooner Girls Varsity Volleyball will be at an invitational at the Ashland High School Fieldhouse at 9 a.m. on Saturday. Again, Girls Varsity Invitational for Spooner Schools happening at 9 o'clock at the Ashland School Fieldhouse. Boys soccer for Spooner will also be happening at 11 a.m. at the Osceola High School. Again, the boys varsity soccer match for Spooner Schools starting at 11 o'clock on Saturday at Osceola High School. The first annual Jeff Butler Memorial Paddle is scheduled for 1 o'clock on Saturday. They'll be meeting in Springbrook. About 3 hours of kayaking and canoeing down the Namakagon in memory of Jeff Butler. 1 p.m. on Saturday. You've been listening to WBZH Hayward Today, local report on mornings with Pat Kreitlow. To stay up to date with everything in the Hayward Lakes area, download the Civic Media app and click on WBZH in the station listings. Coming up after local news and information, Pat Kreitlow returns. I'm Mark Lundeen, and I'll be back here in 20 minutes on Buzz of the North. It's 6:59.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Good morning, Pat Kreitlow on the way here in the Buzz of the North. News. It is a Wednesday, and Greg Gunderson's here. We're doing great.
I am definitely here. You said it correctly.
Did you have to put a needle in your back to work today to make it work?
Not quite. Right. I am not one of those important athletes who's worthy of an epidural.
We'll get into that another time. All right. Not on Wednesdays.
I don't want to talk about it.
I know you don't. Yeah. When you spend that much money, we won't talk about it. We'll talk a little bit today about the water, about canoeing, about paddle boating, about kayaking, because there's a pretty cool event going on all this week with the natural history folks over in Cable. They're doing a paddle the Boundary Waters, which some people have already taken off, and they're doing that. Have you ever been up to the Boundary Water area?
Yes, I've ice fished it.
Oh, does that count when it's frozen?
Yes, when you are not within a quarter mile of any land, I think that counts as being at the Boundary Waters.
I'm not
Call
sure.
them the Boundary Ices if you have to, Joel. I was there.
I guess I always think of, when I hear people going to the Boundary Waters, they're always, hiking a canoe over their shoulder. I've never thought about the ice fishing part of it or the ice part of it.
Oh man, it was an entirely interesting experience. The only thing I'll mention briefly is that we stayed the night on the ice, so you get to listen to that ice all night long, and you get to ask yourself how much the building you're in weighs that's out there on the ice, and how much ice moves when it cracks that loud or that loud or that loud. Like, it's it's not for the anxious.
And it's another level of cold up there too. It gets we think we're up north, but then, here International Falls, and then you see Boundary Waters. And
Yeah, but I mean, like I was tempted to give you a, boy, let me tell you what. Because all you got to do is take a steel shed and you spray foam the inside of it. And you get a really well-insulated little fishing shack. And it doesn't have a floor by nature, being a steel shed with the canopy kind of thing that you can usually buy. And put a propane heater in that, and you don't even need power most of the time, though they do offer a generator for an upcharge. And it's quite the thing. You can just put the holes right in the floor, and it saves you the $80,000 of ice castle money, which I still want one of those things. Have you seen those, by the way?
I have not.
It's like a camper, but it's more boxy, and you'll know them when you see the wheels with tucked-in wheel wells, and there's a gap above them because you can lower these things right down onto the ice and open up hatches in the floor. They've got like hydraulics that lower them down. They're incredible, and it's like they look like most other camper trailers coming down the road, but a little boxier, a little more industrial. And look for the gap above the wheels. Ice Castle. They call them that for a reason.
Sounds like an apartment on ice.
They got bay windows. These things.
Oh yeah, see, I could do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think anybody could do it. It's glamping on the ice.
Water's a big part of what we do in the Hayward and surrounding area, of course. Many of us growing up around lakes or close to lakes. Me personally, I didn't grow up around lakes. I grew up around little rivers and streams.
You said that last week, and it blew my mind. You're from Minnesota and Wisconsin, and you're not from a lake area?
Well, I grew up in a little town called Boyceville, and there were not a lot of lakes. I mean, let me rephrase that. There was lakes, but not as a kid where you could get on your bike and ride to it.
Okay.
Not that close.
Not within biking distance.
Menominee has Lake Monoman, a big lake. So there's a lot of lakes around it, but right in Boyceville, it was more about the rivers that went through there, the small little rivers and such. So that comfort level with large bodies of water and lakes, for me, when I see a large body of water, I don't all of a sudden think, get to my skivvies and let's go jump in. Let's go swimming. That's not the first thing that comes to mind.
Jaws theme?
For me, but a lot of people do. They see the dock and they see that and they say, let's jump in, let's go, because it's that familiarity of just growing up around it all the time.
Fair. That's fair. I mean, it's one of those things where I wouldn't think it's very possible. It's like people who never grew up with a dog. It's like, how do you never grow up with it? Yeah, well, if you think about it real hard, it's honestly not that difficult for somebody to not be around dogs much growing up. We were thinking about it a couple months ago, and it's like, on the face of it, how? Well, yeah, just like you described, in some places there's going to be more river than lake, and you just happen to have been in a 40-mile stretch of river. If you're 20 miles down, you can still put a paper mill on a river. It's a valid place for a town like Boyceville. I'm just justifying Boyceville here for you real quick.
Different. It's things you realize when you get older. And I think geographically, if you put a pin on where the place that I grew up were in rural Boyceville, Wisconsin, and you looked around at lakes, I might have grown up farther away from a lake than most people in the entire state, because it's hard in Wisconsin not to be at least 5 or 10 miles from a lake, right?
Asking questions that nobody's ever asked and nobody really cares about the answer to. I think, yeah. What's the farthest town in Minnesota from a lake? Boyceville. That's my bet.
Or Wisconsin. It was Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin. Well, regardless, that's like you spent a lot of time in both states, which are notoriously pretty lakey. We kind of argue, and as long as we're on the subject, by the way, I've done some Googling, and both of them will argue that they've got more lakes than the other. I'm afraid that Minnesota has the unarguable right to say they've got more lakes than Wisconsin.
12 or 13,000, isn't it, or more?
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, the reason Wisconsin claims a higher number is because Wisconsin classifies them differently, and it's basically easier to call a body of water a lake in the state of Wisconsin. And so there are more qualifying bodies of water.
Careful with this now.
I'm born and bred here. I'm sorry, y'all. If you're going to fight me on this, you're fighting a local, and I'm going to go down on this one. Because if you hold either state to the same metric, either the Minnesota standard or the Wisconsin standard, Minnesota blows it away every time. You just have to measure them both the same. If you measure them both different, sure, Wisconsin has more. But that's like a big kid playing with the little kids and saying, hey, I'm really good at football.
But these are all guys arguing this back and forth. There's no two ladies arguing about this.
Oh, I'm aware this is not
a guy competitive thing.
This is not the concentration of intellectuals. This is not the Manhattan Project we're talking about here, Joel. But just in case you need a neutral voice, sorry, Minnesota wins. That from a Wisconsin native.
Can we just say that we've got a lot of lakes up here, and we're good. And some places are more musky than this and that, and it's just it's beautiful. It is what
sure
it is.
do. We got both plenty of waters here in the
right.
up north.
We got the wet water over there, and then we got the. This is definitely a Hayward segment.
We hit a wall on that one.
That's right. More to come in just a little bit. We'll see what else we can delve into here on the Buzz of the North. Pat Kreitlow is standing by. He will bring more sense to this Wednesday morning. Coming up. More with Pat Kreitlow on the Buzz of the North. Coming up here, we really need to start airing the stuff that's said between our segments rather than just what we're doing on air here.
Counterpoint, no, we don't.
Joel here, Gray over there. We talk a little bit of everything. We talk about Northwoods living here with our local segments. Mark Lundeen, of course, is on with us too. And tomorrow, I want to delve into a little cat and dog talk. But this segment, I wanted to talk about those weirdos out there, those people out there who enjoy having those exotic animals.
I thought we were about to talk about that one guy in every small town who takes a bike everywhere. But I'm with you.
If we knew, if you could take a drone and fly it over Hayward, and you could find, and it would point out, let's say you could press the alligator button, and it would tell you the number of places that have a baby alligator growing in their basement. We would never leave our houses if we knew what was going on in some of these places.
Somewhere out there much closer than you think is a trained Australian jerboa that's ducking and covering on command.
If I knew what that was, I'd be scared.
It's one of those things that I found from a video game and come to find out that it's totally real, which is the most delightful way to come to learn about a real creature on this earth. If you want to find out something cool, I was playing a game where you can tame any creature you see, basically, and there are some pretty contrived ways of doing it, but in most cases, you knock them unconscious and you feed them while they're unconscious. And the game is called Ark. Many of you know, I'm sure, but there's one creature called a jerboa, and it has this ability to sense the weather coming, which is somewhat based on reality. They can sense low pressure systems like a lot of animals can and stuff. But jerboas are unique because they can only show up at low health. And so most of the ways that you knock out the creatures to tame them, just kill these things outright. So what do? You got to punch them in the head. And then, you gotta.
It's kind of like having a younger brother.
You gotta go full Mike Tyson on these little guys, and they are adorable. And boy, do they make the most horrific noise when you knock them out. And so the game punishes you in the way you deserve. But they're real. It's like a kangaroo rat.
Gerboa, jerboa.
It's either a G or a J.
Okay,
it might be,
gotcha.
But it's spelled pretty close to how you think.
Okay, so I wanted to talk exotic pets.
We're talking jerboas now.
What is, and this is something our listeners, you in the Hayward area here, and you people out there in Springbrook too, you too, you can ask your spouse or significant other, what's the most exotic pet that you've ever seen someone own here in the Northwoods at someone's house? Or with me, I've had at least 2 people tell me what they have in their basement, and I said, no, thank you. I really don't want to go there.
We can leave it at that. We leave it unconfirmed. I lived in Eau Claire with a guy who had a snake when I moved away for about 6 years. But it's a very small snake, and he named it Puppy, and it's adorable. It's a corn snake specifically, and it's orange. But there's a common setup, which I didn't know. It's really cool. You can keep a snake in a tote with a little heating pad and stuff. But this snake would like to curl up in the rim of the tote where the lid rested. So you look and the snake's gone. Okay, is it under the bedding? Nope. Is it under the little, they're called a hide, the little shacks. Yeah. Nope, not in there. Well, shoot, don't take the lid off. You'll take him off. It's kind of cute.
I had a renter once who told me outright, after he had already moved in, that he has a pet python.
Oh.
So it was...
3-day notice on the front door?
I know how old it was, but he lived in a house that my wife and I had moved out of, and it's an older house built in 1894. And the first thing I thought to myself was, well, there goes the mouse problem. If there's anything else in there. And I went over there, and I saw it, and I talked to the neighbors, and they were like, well, as long as it's not, apparently he said it was permitted or whatever you needed to do with it. So I let it go. And it was the least of the problems I had with that tenant, by the way.
You did more than let it go. You left it unverified.
I really didn't want to know. I told the neighbors, I said, if you hear anything, let me know. Literally, if you hear somebody being crushed in the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh.
Let me know. Yeah, that's a bit much. I went over to a friend's house once, and he had a pet rat. And I didn't grow up around rats. I grew up around mice, but never saw rats. And literally, I was sitting on the couch of he was a news director for a radio station I worked at, and he let the rat loose, and the rat went on my shoulder and down my arm, and I was frozen, freaked out. Just frozen, freaked out.
I'm comfortable with pet rats.
Okay.
I was exposed to them in a much gentler way. I will say it was my buddy walked up to me, a friend who I trusted holding one, saying, "This is Benny." And then they had 2 rats, and they were named Benny and Bob. And they're fantastic. I love when you give like a cat named Dave. I'm gonna laugh like a fool.
Yeah.
Love that stuff.
Dog named Bob or
something. But Benny and Bob, they were great, and they were like when I got to watch a human, like it's the same way you might warm up a jumpy dog with another more comfortable dog around people. It's the same thing. I got to watch these 2 rats interact with people before I ever tried to, and so when I held them, I wasn't freaked out. But you were aggressively introduced to a rat, I will say.
Yeah, I was, and I knew him. We were good friends, so he was just like, "Hey, Joel," he just kind of like
have a rat.
He was intentionally trying to get me.
Sounds like it worked.
But it's amazing if you look online at the number of exotic pets that are legal in many states that you can fly in from other parts of the world. It's just like, really?
Yeah, we're uniquely situated when it comes to owning kangaroos here in Wisconsin. I think
so.
It's like us in one other state where you don't need a permit. And hey, why?
Even a monkey. I mean, if you permit it, have a permit. I know in places, a friend of mine when I was younger, actually babysat for a friend's monkey, and it came over to our house, and we were distracted for probably 15 to 20 seconds, and the monkey took took the toilet paper roll and just took both hands and went, and all the toilet paper.
Forget the cat. The monkey's got to be worse at that.
Was on the floor. Pet monkeys. You ever seen anybody with a pet monkey that you know?
Regrettably, no.
See, I've always wanted one, but I
want to meet a monkey.
But I don't want one because I know that they're trouble.
I want to meet a nice monkey.
I want to meet a nice monkey. It sounds like the worst dating scene ever at a local.
I just want to meet a nice monkey. We don't have enough time for this.
It's one of the advantages of living in the North Woods is you can sneak in pets, into your place in the backwoods if you want to, and probably get away with it.
Show me your jerboa.
Yeah, more with Pat Kreitlow. This might have been the weirdest local talk that we've had here on the Buzz of the North. And we'll see if they let us back tomorrow. Pat Kreitlow's back in. It's 7:50.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
You're listening to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow on WBZH. I'm Mark Lundeen, and here's what's happening in Hayward today. With me today in the studio is Joyce and Jess from the Sawyer County Health and Human Services in the Public Health Unit. And today we're going to be talking about marijuana, or actually more specifically, THC, since it's not just in the plant anymore. We can get gummies and vapes and drinks and all sorts of stuff. So Joyce or Jess, whoever wants to start us off, let's talk about this.
Okay, so no, and we really want to look at the THC component and kind of why we're bringing this forward, because THC obviously has been around for a long time. It's legal on both sides of us as far as state-wise, as far as Minnesota and Michigan. But the fact that THC itself has become increasingly more concentrated, so it's become more dangerous in in a sense because
Sure.
it can be more harmful.
It's not like the pot that we had in the 70s.
No.
No.
And we hear a lot of time because it's like, well, hey, it's just weed. I smoked weed when I was a
Yeah.
kid or so on. What we're wanting to let people know is, hey, it's not just weed the way you might think it is. It has changed. And like you said, not weed, but THC we're seeing in a lot of things. Like you said, the edibles, the drinks, a lot more concentrated, which is causing a lot of side effects.
Sure.
That people don't even realize that, hey, I'm having these issues, that it's related to the THC that they ingested, thinking it might be something else.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
just bringing this more to light of, hey, the awareness of, you can't just say, hey, it's just weed like I had when I was a
Right.
kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and something to bring up too is when you talk about edibles. So the reason that overdoses happen with edibles is people will use or take an edible and they don't realize that they are not going to feel the effects for anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours later. So
Yeah.
they take more.
Oh,
And with this high concentration of THC in there, I mean, back in the 70s, the concentration of THC in weed was about 10%.
yeah.
Now, there is no weed that the concentration is only 10%. Now it's anywhere from 90% plus. And so we actually have kids and adults who are showing up in our emergency rooms that are overdosing and they're hallucinating. They are
Yeah.
having panic attacks. They're having rapid heartbeats. Their blood pressure goes up.
Yep.
So, and it's a very scary thing to happen.
Well, I would think with all these products, too, that are now containing THC in the home, kids are getting a hold of it. And they
Yes.
think it's candy. They think it's pop. They think it's something
Yep.
fun.
Well, it's like,
And
you know,
they're
when-
taking the whole gummy versus, some
Yes.
people just say just a little corner.
Right. And it's being packaged to attract kids
Sure.
just like vaping, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they're putting the bright colors on it. They make it
The flavors.
it looks like a candy that they know,
Yes.
or a snack that they know, but it's not. It
Yeah.
has that THC in it.
Yeah.
So
So what can we do to prevent some of this happening in the home? Obviously, you don't go out and buy it, but for those who are,
Right.
what are some safety tips that we can give them?
yeah, well, obviously for starters, treat it just like a narcotic medication. Put it up away where children can't get into it.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're putting it somewhere that's, especially if you can lock it, it's even better. Because it's not only kids, it's also pets. If your dog eats it, they can die from it. It's very, very difficult to treat a dog that is overdosing on THC. So that is the first thing. Obviously, we are not promoting the usage of weed or THC.
No, but if they are.
But we're being realistic.
Yeah.
We know that people are. So if you are going to be using it, only have the amount in your home that you're going to use. Don't be storing and stashing it up
Yeah.
so that others can find it.
And I think the other part too is because then somebody might go, well, I don't have edibles in my home, is the concentration is not just in those edibles or the waxes. Waxes are very common. But the actual, like if you're smoking marijuana, the way you would traditionally think it,
Yeah.
those are even more concentrated than they used to be. So that's the other
Sure.
component that people are like, well, hey, they're having fun, they're just smoking a joint. Well, not realizing that joint is a lot more concentrated than it used to be.
Yeah.
So, our local ERs are seeing people come in due to using or smoking, and they're having symptoms like their heart rate is through the roof, they're throwing up crazy, they're having these panic attacks, not realizing it's because of what they just did. So,
And the other thing with smoking that I want to bring up is even though a lot of people look at THC and weed as a natural product, so they're thinking that it's
Right.
healthier, you're still putting things into your lungs. And so there's actually studies out there that have shown that people that do smoke marijuana are at a higher risk for stroke and for heart attacks. So
Okay.
keep that in mind as well. If you
Yeah.
already have those health symptoms, maybe not something you want to be doing. If you don't need to do it, don't do it. But if you do, know that the concentration is very high. It is not what you think it is. If you're going to use it, use a very, very small amount. Give it a few hours so that you know what the full effect is going to be. Put it somewhere safe.
Yeah. Because the joint of like you said, the joint of the 70s is 10 times stronger today.
Yes.
If it's not more.
Yes.
as far as potency is
I
concerned.
actually was on vacation a few weeks ago in a state that it is legal
Yeah.
with a group of women, and somebody there shared a joint with somebody else, and that girl came to me very scared. She was panicking, and it turns out that it was just something that had a very, very high amount in it.
Oh, sure.
Really, really scared her.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Joyce and Jess, thank you for stopping by, and we will talk more about this in future episodes.
Thank you.
If you would like more information about the topic we discussed today, contact Joyce Knowlton at 715-634-4806. Again, that's 715-634-4806. You've been listening to WBZH Hayward Today, local report on mornings with Pat Kreitlow. To stay up to date with everything going on in the Hayward Lakes area, download the Civic Media app and click on WBZH in the radio station listings. Coming up after local news and information, Pat Kreitlow returns. I'm Mark Lundeen, and I'll be back with more Hayward area information tomorrow morning. It's 8:29.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.